Hey, I'm Paul.
And I'm Stephanie.
And we are part of the team that went to Santa Rosa, Peru to the Compassion Center. And today we're going to share with you some of the highlights of what we experienced there. But it all began in 2016.
In 2016, we officially began our partnership in Santa Rosa, Peru with Compassion International. We helped pay for the construction and completion of the church and the Compassion Center, and we sponsored 120 children on a monthly basis to go to the Compassion Center. Today, we sponsor over 205 children, totaling over $92,000 per year going into that community. Every child you see at the center in Santa Rosa has been sponsored by a journeyer. On August 5th, 23 people from the Journey were our first team to visit, traveling to Panama and then on to Chiclayo, Peru, and then to Santa Rosa.
Our first full day, we traveled from Chiclayo into the Santa Rosa community, a poor fishing village where the average sponsored family makes less than $2 per day. We received such warm greetings from our partners in Santa Rosa, and we got our first opportunity to meet and play with the children at the center. And it was such a joy to see the completed building, filled with children and staff, to see the laughter and excitement of those kids. And hugs, stickers, and smiles were the common language that we all spoke.
We got to spend our second full day blessing the Compassion Center staff. They are the dedicated servants who take care of these children day in and day out. They do so much with very little fanfare, so we spend the day encouraging them. Through games, relationship building, serving them lunch, giving them prayer journals, and a devotional to encourage their souls. We closed the day by gathering around them to pray. We knew the impact the day had had on them, as many as their staff wept with deep emotion for the love and the care we shared as we prayed over them.
On the third day, we went to a compassion center that is 15 years old in Chiclayo, and it gave us a glimpse into the future of what Santa Rosa will look like one day. We spent the day hanging out with teens in the program, laughing, playing games, getting to know them, and hearing their stirring stories of God's work in their lives and what He has rescued them from. We began to picture our sponsored children at that age and the impact compassion and our sponsorship can have on the future of these kids and of their families.
Our fourth day brought us back to Santa Rosa and to the center for a day of games, crafts, stories, and songs with the 170 sponsored children. Through the designated activities, serving lunch, or informal times of play, we wanted the children to know that we love them and that God loves them. It was so fun to see the joy of these children as we just spent time loving them and getting to know these sweet kids. It was unbelievable to think that every child we connected with that day was sponsored by someone at the Journey.
On Sunday, we gathered for church in Santa Rosa. They were celebrating the 2-year anniversary of the completion of the building, and they were celebrating our arrival. And it was a day filled with all sorts of joy and the importance of our partnership. They taught us songs in Spanish, we sang for them, and we shared the message and story of God's work in our lives. At the end of the service, they gave us gifts to thank the Journey for our partnership, and the whole church stood and prayed for us as we closed out the service. And then we spent the next 30 minutes being greeted and hugged by the people of Santa Rosa. It was an incredibly moving day as we celebrated being brothers and sisters because of our relationship with Jesus.
On our last full day, we traveled 1.5 hours to a park for a fun day with our sponsored child and one family member. Through laughter, shared experiences, and time and conversation, we got to know our sponsored child, their family, and their challenges, needs, and dreams. Many of these kids experienced things for the first time in their life, like a pool, water slide, monkeys, or trampolines. We ended the day by giving gifts to the children and speaking words of life into them and praying over them. It was an emotional day as we said goodbye to these little ones that we now know, and we all left a little piece of our heart there with them. So that was a summary of the things that we did on the 5 days while we were in Peru, but by far the greatest part of the entire experience was seeing the impact on these little kids.
Yeah, one example of that was there was a group of mothers that did a presentation for us in Santa Rosa, and they had their child that was sponsored in front of them, and they had a letter of the alphabet, and they read something to us, but what we kind of found out later was what they spelled out actually spelled out godparents. And that's how they see this kind of sponsorship, that we are linking arms together with them to see their child begin to follow Jesus, to take steps in their education, and to grow up to be all the things that they're dreaming that they would be. And I hope that you feel that partnership really is like a godparent with that child. It was a beautiful moment to realize the importance of that partnership.